All right, guys, so we're gonna continue with the conversation between Alice Weidel, and Elon Musk. Jump in.
uh, clearly a net good. And if there's any doubt about them being a net good, we should eliminate them because otherwise we get to this point where everything is illegal. And so it's just absolutely crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not only about bureaucracy, it's also about taxes. Germany has the highest taxes
Yes.
of all OECD countries. So the normal German employee, he works more than half of a year for the state. You have to imagine that. With taxes plus social security, so more than half of the year you work for this dysfunctioning state, because like the state does not provide the vital provisions for the people here. So he doesn't provide for security. So we have skyrocketing criminal rates here. He doesn't care about education. So we have this same insane, wokish, leftish, socialist agenda in our educational system. So the young people, they don't.
Man, really, I would never expect that from Germany. You guys having that kind of problem, I would never expect that from Germany. United States, yeah, because we're crazy, for sure, but not for you guys. I don't know, guys. You guys have to let me know in the comment section below if what you're saying is true or not.
Don't learn anything in school, in university, etc. So they just learn about gender studies, and they just and no, really,
I was under the impression that Germany had a pretty good education system.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
It was quite rigorous with the gymnasium and all that sort of stuff. At least it used to at one point.
Yes.
So, but it sounds like this has I don't know, the woke mind virus has infected Germany quite badly.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you have the international standard of PISA testing, right? So the PISA survey. So Germany, like a couple of years ago, was scored. But now, so we just plummeted because the survey showed that young people are not able to properly do math or speak or write German. And
because Germany is not only the one having the problem, it's like all Western world. All Western nations are having the same problem. And that's scary because of China. China doesn't play, man. China's not playing around, man. China does not play. And topics like this, it should not be left and right? It should be like a common decency to think that, okay, we need the best and the brightest from their own. But if we're not teaching them correctly, I mean, it's not good, right? It's not good. Yeah, but the math and science is a Western problem, man.
In some states here in Germany, you have to imagine they just abolished the writing grades in terms to get the language grade, right? So you don't need to write German properly anymore because our entire educational system has been deteriorating, and that is also the reason, for instance, why young people, they vote for us now, because they want to have a proper education and they want to have back a proper educational system that provides the young people with capabilities. And that is also the reason why so my personal opinion is that we have to go back to a merit-based system, right? So we need to go back to a merit-based incentive system and to go away from all this socialist gender things being in our educational system. The families and the parents, they have the responsibility of their children, and the schools and the university, they have the responsibility to give good education and not all this woke socialist nonsensical gender stuff.
Sure. No, absolutely. I mean, the whole point of going to school is to learn useful skills that help you in life, help you be productive and understand the world.
Yes.
And otherwise, it's not a school. It's just a propaganda institution.
True.
Yeah. So okay. Well, I mean that makes a lot of sense.
Well, you know what's crazy? Based on the videos I reacted to, I haven't seen none of that stuff. It might be happening, but I haven't seen it. You guys have to let me know that whether or not this is true. I don't know.
So
We
let's
need
see.
to.
Yeah.
So maybe I can just go on, because I was just giving an example of the educational system where the state fails, because our state, the government, collected in the last year a record high of income tax. So they collected like around like above 1 trillion, right, of euros. So
Damn.
it's a record high tax. But the state, they cannot handle taxpayers' money. So what do?
They
So
spend it.
they just throw the money out of the window for
And the,
for immigration in our social system, for instance.
damn.
So since 2015, just to give you some numbers and also the audience to have an idea what's going on here in Germany. So we had an influx of almost 7 million people, but these are the officially counted. So
7 million people. Wow. Okay.
7 million
Damn,
people of influx since 2015.
Damn, 7 million. Damn. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people.
Officially counted. And then because the people, they just just another funny numbers. Our state allows people to throw away their passports before they cross our borders that are not protected and controlled. So 57%, almost 60% of the people coming into our country through an open border, they throw away their papers. Why do they do that? Because once entered our country, our funny country, with this funny immigration policy, they cannot be deported anymore. So that's the reason why. So our state, our government,
so they say, you know what, I don't want to be deported. Let me throw the passport away, and they ask me, and I'm not. I don't know. I don't even know the name of my country. I don't know where I'm from. Okay, man, just stay here. That's probably how it is.
The Angela Merkel government and the last one, they proclaimed a policy that everyone can choose to cross our border to immigrate into our social security system and cannot be deported afterwards because they threw away their passports. I mean,
This is
like,
crazy.
how
Is that
insane
true?
is that?
That I mean, we're kind of crazy here in the United States, but that's how kind of crazy, guys. You guys have to let me know if this is true or not. It's crazy, bro. It's like everything, man. If you have migrants that are coming to your country to work, and they have the right document, that's different, right? Let them work, right? They're doing the right place. They're doing the right thing. They respecting the laws of the country. That's fine. Well, when they're doing stuff like that, they're throwing their own passports away because that's crazy, man. That's
Well,
real
it is
crazy.
very insane, but that's exactly what's happened in the U.S.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean, clearly, there's a sort
Orchestrated.
of I don't know, sort of a far left agenda that's being pushed throughout Western civilization, any place they can go, because the exact same thing was done in the U.S. where, and now they're sort of calling people illegal immigrants. They call them undocumented, and the reason they're undocumented is because they threw away their passport, just like you're talking about. In fact, if on the Mexican side of the border in the U.S., there's a giant pile of discarded passports and driver's licenses, like a huge pile.
Unbelievable.
Because it's actually worse to come in with a passport than to come in with nothing. And then, just like in Germany, the Democrat government then gives massive amounts of money and support to what they call undocumented. But if they're undocumented, we actually have no idea if they are a murderer, rapist. We have no idea because they have no documents, so we can't actually tell. And so as a result, there's been a massive influx of criminals into the U.S. because, and frankly, I'm wondering what's taking criminals so long to come here. I mean, this is America's a target-rich environment. It's you know, you could in America, it's so easy to steal things in these wealthy neighborhoods. It's like the only thing that is going to slow down how much you can steal is if your back hurts from carrying out all the goods. It's like because you're just like you're not a robber, you're just a moving company.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like it seems like all the world's criminals just come to America on that basis, because it's much easier to be a career criminal in America than it is in other countries where there's not that much to steal.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
But may
so
I
we've
ask
seen
a
a massive
question?
increase in crime in the US.
Yeah. Yeah. May I ask a question on that?
Of
So
course.
I read that, for instance, in California, by the way, I'm very sorry what's happening there. It's terrible. It's really terrible to
Yeah.
see. Yeah, it's terrible. But in the case of California, that they just lifted the prosecution of theft because you have so many cases of theft. Is it true?
Yes, the de facto situation in California is that theft is almost never prosecuted. It's
My
maybe
goodness.
1% of the time is theft prosecuted, and
That's
even when
crazy,
it is
man.
prosecuted,
Yeah, that's insane, man. And now they changed the law, so now they are arresting people. But before the 2024 election, it was like that, guys. Like I think was if you stole anything under $1,000, you can keep it. You can keep it. You will not be arrested. Yeah, true, guy. I'm not lying. You guys can look it up. That's why a lot of people were leaving the state. I'm telling you.
the criminals are let out on bail immediately. So basically, theft is legal in California.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Now, there was recently a referendum in California.
That's the one I'm talking about.
To make a crime, to make stealing illegal again, which was and actually that was a very popular, and it passed. Because it was actually literally legal to steal anything under $1,000.
Yeah,
which
I
means
told you.
people could just walk into a store.
See, I told you that's why a lot of Walgreens and a lot of CVS they start closing because of that same reason.
Yeah.
At $1,000 at a time and take out anything they want.
Yep.
And if the storekeeper stopped them, the storekeeper would be arrested. So this is literally like the Joker and Batman. It's like the criminals, are in charge, and the honest citizens are arrested. It's just completely insane. Now, like I said, the people in California did vote overwhelmingly to make theft illegal again.
Yeah.
But astonishingly, the governor of California, Governor Newsom, he was against the making theft illegal.
And he just didn't implement it?
Yeah, well, no, but what they're going to do is, even though it is technically illegal again, the sort of far left will refuse to enforce it.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Because you really need two things for something to work, for laws to work. You need both the law and you need enforcement of the law.
The law, yeah, and that right there, guys, right there. Enforcement is what makes our government something real. Do you guys want to get into this or not? Do you guys want to get into this? I'll get into this. But enforcement is what makes an abstracted concept of a law, right? An abstracted concept of a law concrete, real. Because without enforcement, a law is simply a subjective term, a fallacy. It's not real. It's only if it is backed up by enforcement that can even be somewhat concrete. You see? That's what he said right there, guys. If you understand law, you understand politics, right there, that concept of enforcement, it will really give you what politics is all about. Enforcement. Enforcement. You can pass all the laws that you want. You can have. You know what's crazy about this? I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into this. I'm not gonna get into it because this is not for this. But enforcement is what makes this thing that we call government real. The law is real. You know, all these things, all this bureaucracy. And it's a danger. The fact that we are even talking about this. This is the dangerous part. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous, guys. And this is a very scary part. Enforcement. 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 I'm sorry. Enforcement. That's what I think, man. You guys have to let me know, but that's what I think.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is something that George Soros really figured out. I mean, he's sort of brilliant guy, but honestly, very anti-human in my opinion. Is that you don't actually need to change the law; you just need to stop enforcement of the law.
Yeah, there you go.
And that does the trick.
Unbelievable.
I think there is somewhat of a reawakening in the U.S. and I think even in California, people are tired of this and they want change. And I think that's really if you say like what people are wondering like why did Donald Trump win? And it wasn't just a small victory. In the U.S. elections this year, President Trump won the Electoral College. He also won the popular vote, majority of the people.
Senate and House.
And the House is Republican and the Senate is Republican. What this says is the American people are demanding change. They're being very clear. And my recommendation for the people in Germany is to do the same. If you are unhappy with the situation, you must vote for change, and that is why I'm really strongly recommending that people vote for AFD. That's my strong recommendation, and I think.
Yeah, that's Elon Musk. I don't know anything about this party. I'm just reacting to this lady. She hasn't said anything that convinced me yet. So, she against Germany. I don't know too much about Germany, guys. So I'm just new to this, right? At the same time, the argument that I haven't heard from her is conservatism. She talk about some libertarian position, but the question is, what are you trying to conserve? What is it you're trying to conserve? I just still don't know. I just need to know what you're trying to conserve. German culture, okay? What is the German culture? What builds the German culture? What feeds the German culture? What is the German culture? And where did it start? What do we need to preserve? I haven't heard anything. Nothing.
This is simply the sensible move, and I think Alice Beadle's a very, very reasonable person, and hopefully people can tell just from this conversation, like nothing outrageous is being proposed, just common sense. In fact, I, as I've said publicly, I think only AFD can save Germany.
Damn.
I just want to be very clear about that.
Damn.
Only AFD can save Germany. End of story. And people really need to get behind AFD, and otherwise things are going to get very, very much worse in Germany.
Yes, because you rightly said there is a difference of making a law and then enforcing it.
The law.
So now we have the situation in Germany where you have, on the one hand, you have the AfD, and on the other hand, what's so-called the Uniparty, right? The Uniparty consisting of all the others, because they stick together, and no matter what they say, they're not able to implement, to enforce the promises they're doing in every election, especially the Angela Merkel party. Do you know that the chancellor candidate, so my running mate of the Christ Democratic Party, that it's wrongly labeled, for instance, by The Economist as a center-right party. So in my opinion, it's a leftish Green party. But anyway, Angela Merkel was the first Green chancellor we had here. So what he did is that he, by the way, just talking about interference, so I just look it up here. he called your interest in German politics, pushy and presumptuous. And
what did you say about George Soros?
yeah, exactly. And Bill Gates. So
Yeah,
that
Bill
was
Gates,
not a
exactly.
problem. When Bill Gates actually tried to sell his mRNA vaccination and not mentioning all the huge side effects on people's health, and no one takes responsibility about that, and the entire bluff and scam of wearing a mask, right? So
Yes.
it's unbelievable. And also that candidate of the Christ Democrats, like Friedrich Merz, he warned the world about the consequences of voting for Donald Trump in October last year. So
Right.
so far for like foreign interferences, right? So it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable, like how Donald Trump was treated by German media and German politicians during his election campaign. It was unbelievable. And I mentioned that before in a Bloomberg interview. It created physical pain to see that, how he was disparaged, like, and his entire family. So yeah, so I feel very sorry for these people. Um, um, just like saying negative things, and now
Yeah.
while we talk, 150 bureaucrats of the European Union are watching us, our conversation, to enforce this ridiculous Digital Services Act that is nothing else than a censorship on free speech. But free speech, right? It's
Yes.
and you said it, free speech is a precondition of democracy. If you are not able to form a proper opinion and exchange opinions and ideas, and a democracy should be a competition of the best ideas, right? And of compromises.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Yes, exactly. Without freedom of speech, people are obviously not able to say what they want to say, and then they cannot make an informed vote. So if people are simply fed propaganda and have no access to what's really going on, then they can't make an informed vote, and then you don't have a real democracy. So that's why I say, free speech is the bedrock of democracy.
But you have to see, the thing is that you can have that again, guys. But again, rights are just. I love my constitutions in America. I love it because it just amplify what our nation is built on, right? Those amendments. However, the concept of enforcement has to come from the idea that the citizens are willing to just die for that. It's not simply just going here in Twitter and X to say that, okay, I think free speech, this and that. Yeah, but what is a free speech? What entails free speech? What is that all about? What are you allowed to say? What you're not allowed to say? It seems like sometimes when we have this conversation about free speech, and I see hundreds of videos about this, how Germans and Americans, they go back and forth between what is free speech and stuff like that. And it seems like there's a disconnect to really understand what free speech means. Right? You guys call it freedom of expression, which is a little different, right? I don't know if it entails the same thing, right? But in our case, we are very loose when it comes down to speech. Very loose, guys. I'm telling you. I mean, if you guys are ready for that, that's fine. But here, we allow even racism to just go crazy. But it's just protected by the Fifth Amendment. But again, if it is willing to be enforced, guys. If it is willing to be enforced. If it is willing to be enforced. Because enforcement is what makes these laws something tangible. Very interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I would love to hear you guys' opinion. Meantime, guys, I will see you in our next one.